Hi students, welcome back to geology. Now that we've learned a little bit about rocks, we are going to work on our last rock type. So up until this point, we know that rocks can form from molten rock or magma or lava, and they can also be eroded at the Earth's surface to transform into another rock. But what happens if it never melts? So there's other ways that rocks can be changed or morphed into something else, and that's what we're going to explore today. We're going to look at how can a rock change without melting. So our guiding question today is going to be what conditions inside Earth transform existing rocks into metamorphic rocks, which is our last rock type that we're talking about. So before we go deep into that, let's go back to the rock cycle. And remember that any rock can aspire to be any other rock type. So as long as the correct processes are followed, the rock can be transformed. And this is driven by plate tectonics. So if we don't see subduction, we don't see erosion, we're not going to have remelting of rocks, we're not going to have the breakdown of rocks in order to have the rocks transform into something else. So let's look at metamorphism specifically. So metamorphic rocks are driven by heat and pressure. They are altered by heat and then pressure. They can be transformed from pre-existing sedimentary rocks, igneous rocks, or the further alteration of existing metamorphic rocks. Metamorphism generally occurs between 10 and 50 kilometers at depth. Above that point, so above 10 kilometers, not enough pressure and heat is present to rearrange crystals or grow them larger. And below 50 kilometers at depth, our felsic minerals are starting to melt. And as soon as something starts to melt, it's technically becoming igneous. Okay, remember, igneous rocks come from molten rock. Again, these are created from existing rocks, and with metamorphism, the entire rock isn't completely changed. So we can see some signatures of what it used to be. So we call those parent rocks our protoliths, proto meaning first and lith meaning rock. And so we can look at the rock, metamorphic rock, and get an idea of what the rock it was before it was metamorphosed. These rocks stay solid during metamorphism and they don't melt. Okay, so we're just rearranging crystals in the rock. The crystals are growing bigger in some instances and creating really interesting fabric, which we will talk about in a little bit. Right, so if we look at depth, this kind of shows you where each rock type would be formed. So below 10 kilometers is where metamorphism begins, and then below 50 kilometers is where melting starts to occur, and that's where our igneous rocks will lie. Anything above 10 kilometers that is buried is going to be a sedimentary rock. Okay, so 0 to 10 kilometer burial is sedimentary, 10 to 50 is metamorphic, and then 50 and lower is all igneous. Okay, so that kind of gives you stratigraphically where these rocks would be formed. So heat is the most important agent in metamorphism. It is what drives recrystallization. So it creates new stable crystals in the rock. And if we don't have a high heat scenario, there's not going to be as much metamorphism occurring. So heat-driven metamorphism starts at 200 degrees Celsius and it goes all the way up to 1,000 degrees Celsius before things begin melting. Some sources of heat include magma that's coming up into the country rock that's already existing, and then friction between bodies of rock. So this would be like plates interacting with each other, whether they're converging, diverging, or sliding past each other. There's oftentimes friction involved. Increasing heat with depth. So as rocks go down into the Earth's crust, you see an increase in temperature. Okay, so that increase in temperature is approximately 30 degrees Celsius every kilometer. But as we learned with igneous melting, looking at flux melting, decompression melting, that all is very dependent on the tectonic environment. So if we have a different tectonic environment than just standard burial, that geothermal gradient will shift a little bit. Looking at pressure, this also increases with increasing depth. Pressure is either applied equally in all directions or unequally or differentially. If it's in all directions, we call that confining pressure. It's also referred to as lithostatic pressure. And then differential pressure is directed pressure from two specific sides. So what does that look like exactly? So that's going to look like this. So in the cartoon A, you have confining pressure or lithostatic pressure, where pressure is just being applied to all sides of the rock. In that case, the rock strata, which are those horizontal lines, which we learned in sedimentary rocks, all layers or all rocks are deposited horizontally, they just get smaller and more confined. Okay, but when we're looking at differential stress, stress from two specific sides, what's happening is that the strata will become deformed. So if you remember from faults and earthquakes, if we have horizontal beds and you push them together, they're going to bend and break and buckle. Okay, this can create large scale folds in the rock, and it can also create what we call foliation. So foliation is a specific metamorphic fabric that is created from directed pressure. And what that is when the minerals are recrystallizing perpendicular to the directed stress. So you can see in the graphic on the top there, all the minerals starting to align themselves perpendicular to the line of stress, but parallel to each other. Okay. And this gives us an indication that these rocks were formed in an environment where directed pressure is present. The only environment we can get directed pressure is when we have convergent plate boundaries. So if we go back one slide and we look at the deformed strata, you can see that what's happening there are two continental plates pushing together. So if you look at the reddish pink arrows behind the words deformed strata, you can see they're pointing at each other. That's two continental plates colliding. So where we have collision is where we're going to see our directed pressure, which is going to create our foliation. So in this example, we have a granite on the left, which is an igneous rock before metamorphism. After directed pressure is applied during metamorphism, we end up with something called a gneiss, which is a metamorphic rock. Going more deep into that, specific minerals will, when they align, will create some other things like lineation. Hornblende is longer in a particular direction, which makes it linear, like a pencil or a needle, rather than it being a planar shaped look or book type mineral. So like, for example, feldspar is more like a planar shaped book rather than a pencil or a straw. So these linear objects can be aligned within the rock, and we call those that specific type of foliation lineation. So linear crystals can be arranged as part of foliation, but not all foliation is lineation, if that makes sense. If they lie on a plane with a mica, for example, with no common or preferred direction, this is just foliation. It's not lineation. So we basically need all the same mineral aligning, kind of like those straws are lined up, in order for it to be considered lineation and not just foliation. Right. And then within specific rocks, if we can't necessarily really see the crystals, we might be looking at grains like mud or clay, silt, sand that are aligning, the grains are aligning instead of the crystals aligning. And so slate is an example of this. This is low-grade metamorphism of mud. So the foliation here is, we call this slaty cleavage because it's very particular to slate. And you can see kind of those lines in the rock that show you where it would break. Okay, so that's the foliation in this rock, but it's not from crystals, it's from mud or clay grains. So to get you kind of thinking about this, I want you to look at these samples and try to discern which one would have foliation and which one wouldn't. Remember, we're looking for lines or aligned minerals in the rock. Okay, so pause the video, think about it, and I'll go over it. All right, so number 35, you see the black and white kind of banding. That one does have foliation. Okay, then we move on over to 39. This is another picture of slate. You can kind of see the stacked up lines there on it. That's all of the foliation in that rock. So that one does have foliation. Moving on over to number 42, that one doesn't appear to have any lines or any crystals that are aligning themselves parallel. So that one does not show foliation. Moving to 38. 38, you can kind of see lines within that rock. All of those crystals are aligning themselves. And so that one does show foliation. Then we look at 44. 44 is another type of coal. We looked at coal last week. This is another type. This is a further metamorphosed coal. It's called anthracite. And this one doesn't have any of those clear lines. It doesn't show foliation. And then 41 is your quartzite. That one also does not show any foliation. So you have 3 that show foliation and 3 do not. And hopefully that made sense to you. Final note here is that once these rocks start to reach that 50-kilometer depth, the felsic minerals begin to melt. Okay, so these are the rocks that have higher silica minerals in them, and they will start to melt. And if that is stopped there and nothing else melts, you might see what we call partial melting. And so you can see the melting of the felsic minerals, and then everything else around it has not started to melt. It kind of frozen time at that melting point. So partial melting is really unique to see in our metamorphic rocks. All right, in summary for this video, metamorphic rocks are altered, sedimentary, igneous, or further metamorphism of metamorphic rocks. They are formed from heat and pressure. This typically happens between 10 and 50 kilometers at depth. Some metamorphic rocks display foliation when they're exposed to direct pressure, but not all rocks have foliation. And in your notes, I would like you to explain 2 factors that cause metamorphism and how they change the rock's minerals or texture. I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.